This is Steve Colano, and this is Confidential Remarks. You've hit the markers of a successful career, top producer awards, an expanding portfolio, and the sprawling home that represents the finish line. By every traditional metric, you have won. But the internal experience doesn't match the portfolio. The closing days that used to provide a rush now feel flat. The numbers are growing, yet the satisfaction has vanished. You still show up. You make the calls, shake the hands, and chase the next commission. But it takes an increasing amount of effort to maintain the persona required to keep the cycle moving. This sudden disinterest is a functional signal. The energy required to sustain the performance is now higher than the reward, because the outward hustle is no longer aligned with who you are. The life you built for comfort and validation was designed for an earlier version of yourself, one that no longer exists. Modern real estate culture is a perpetual sprint. It demands you stay visible, stay relevant, and move to the next deal before you have had a single moment to sit with the results of the last one. When your entire identity is tied to that cycle of performative success, losing the drive for it feels like losing yourself. This crisis is an awakening. Your internal GPS is finally becoming audible because the life you are pretending to want is no longer sustainable. This diagram shows how traditional real estate metrics operate, looping endlessly on a spreadsheet. The industry teaches that if you analyze the ROI and calculate the yield, you will find the right path. We have been conditioned to treat the analytical mind as the ultimate authority, but the mind is an execution tool, not a leader. It craves certainty and control, which means it only sees an isolated fraction of the full picture. You have likely felt the moment a deal makes perfect sense on paper, but feels dead inside. Every box is checked, but the spark is missing. That lack of feeling is not confusion. It is clear direction breaking through the logic to tell you that the path is wrong. Logic alone cannot protect you. It is possible to be perfectly logically convinced to build a life you do not actually want to live. When the stimulation of the hustle stops overriding your own signals, you enter a quiet mental room. For most, this space is incredibly uncomfortable. This silence forces you to face the inconvenient questions you've been moving past. Questions about your time, your choices, and what you are actually building. The immediate instinct is fear. There is a powerful urge to rush back to normal habits and consume more assets just to feel the familiar buzz of the chase. But the model of endless accumulation fails to satisfy the heart's need for meaning. You cannot fill an internal void with external square footage. Returning to performative habits will only recreate the same discomfort. The cycle will repeat until you finally choose to sit with the silence and listen. Eventually, you reach a point of no return. You cannot force yourself to want a business model that your heart has already stepped out of. These scales represent two approaches to value. On the left, rapid isolated accumulation. On the right, a stable interconnected base. Consider transitioning from extracting equity to providing genuine service. A performative facade requires constant energy. Stop feeding it, and those unsustainable structures naturally fall away. Realignment requires radical honesty. You have to be truthful about what you feel, even if that honesty costs you relationships, status, or your current business plan. Authenticity is the only sustainable metric. True value is what remains when you stop distorting your own truth to stay accepted. The numbness you feel is not an illness to be cured. It is a tool for discernment, helping you sense what is real in a world full of noise. Losing interest in the rat race is the first step toward actual alignment. Stepping off allows you to see where you are actually going. It is only within this quiet, empty space that a life and a portfolio built on honesty can finally begin. This has been Confidential Remarks.